a beautiful set of works of art. I want to just take a moment and thank Ron St. Angelo for sharing his gift, certainly with the University of Dallas, certainly with the Diocese of Dallas. He's donated 28 pieces to the University of Dallas, and he and his wife, Joanna, are members of our Legacy Society, which means that they've left a bequest for us. So profound generosity. He's been profoundly generous to the Diocese of Dallas and has been dedicating his remarkable gifts to promoting a robust and healthy appreciation for the deep roots of a Catholic nature in particular here in the Diocese of Dallas. Ron was 3 decades the official photographer for the Dallas Cowboys, and you can see on the reel there some of his works. I guess it's not a reel, I mean the television. One of the things that I find really remarkable about Ron, he's been taking classes here at the University of Dallas for the last several years. And I know that Dean Perrins will say a few things about that, but why is that remarkable? I think it was 1992 was your first time on campus when you took the picture from the top of the tower. And if you know it, it was an iconic picture of the old Texas Stadium when the Cowboys were where they are supposed to be instead of Arlington. But the stadium was here. Actually, the parking lot was joined to our campus, and looking through some of Ron's work, he's got a remarkable eye. Right? That's obvious, but the sense of wonder that propels you. In how you look at things, how you cause others to look at things, and that sense of wonder driving you to the classroom and cultivating your natural desire to know and expanding the set of experiences that you have, moving deeper into the tradition, not just through the visual arts, but through study. So you're an inspiration, and I want to thank you for your gifts to the university, your gifts to this diocese, and your gifts to the world. Dr. Perrins.
Well, I can't say exactly for sure when Ron showed up in the Braniff graduate office, but Ron has been a devoted student, especially of theology at the University of Dallas. The University of Dallas has not always done continuing education very well. We used to have a program that reached out to the community that would encourage people to come and sit in on regular classes. Now, Ron showed up in the Braniff office and he said, I want to take a class. And my response was, well, actually, we have this thing. It's called Catholic Faith and Culture. We have this continuing education program. And he was like, sorry, Catholic Faith and Culture? Catholic Faith and Culture is not anything to be looked down upon, but Ron said, I want to take the courses that the students take. I don't want something that's packaged for continuing ed. Now, he knew what he wanted, and he insisted on it. And he didn't just take theology courses. He took some of the most demanding and difficult theology courses at the University of Dallas. Have any of you ever heard of Professor Chris Malloy? This is not something for the faint-hearted. Ron knew what he wanted. He came and he got it. I'm really grateful that he did. It just shows what kind of a person he is and the kind of interests and the kind of soul that he has. His love for this university, I think, is pretty unusual. He reached into us when we should be reaching out to the community. We're doing it through Catholic Faith and Culture, but it's been a little bit of a rough transition into doing continuing ed in a way that's really active and vital. But I'm really grateful that you reached out to us because you now have a special connection with Braniff, and the university is grateful for it. And we're grateful for your presence and for your art. So thank you very much, Ron.
Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to remember what's going on in the world right now, in Ukraine, and here in our country and all over the world, really, with COVID. I know it's touched a lot of us and our families, personally. So let's take just a brief moment and remember. God keep them. So, I'm truly blessed by God. And I always, whenever I'm speaking about this, or even my work with the Cowboys, like to acknowledge God first and foremost. He sent me an angel, one of his angels. My wife of 43 years, Joanna. None of my life, my photography, anything, would have happened without her. So I want to recognize her. Yes. I do want to thank a few people. First, Jonathan Sanford, Dr. Sanford, our president at the university. Dr. Joshua Perrins, who just was speaking, who's Dean of Theology here. I want to thank the Diocese of Dallas that I've had the privilege and honor of working with for a number of years. And through the course of this, Veronica Marino, who's here with her dad, Claire Venegas, Julia Abel, they're all in the advancement department, I believe, or communications. Aaron Claycomb, I haven't met yet, but he's helped throughout this process. And I want to recognize a man that I spoke to early on. His name was Father Paul, I think it's McCormick, at the Cistercian Abbey. He was like one of my first advisors when I wanted to undertake this. So I want to recognize him. I want to thank all my professors and recognize all the professors I've had here who are brilliant minds. And as Dean Perrin said, taking a class, now I go to Mater Dei Latin Mass right now, and I've been there for a long time. Richard Doherty, some of the faculty, and I'm sure Joe just told me, Joe Haggard, our videographer, that he goes to Mater Dei. They've probably seen my work over there because I decorated the walls with my photography over there. But let me get my thought here. I was trying to. They encouraged me to be able to do this, and what I've noticed, and I don't want to forget, I want to go on without thanking two graduate students, Michelle and Michael, and I don't know if they're here today, but they installed this exhibit yesterday. They did a great job along with the rest of the advancement staff. I hope that word gets to them. I thanked them before I left, but they were still working when I left. So just a little bit of background. 20 years ago, I was a professional photographer as official photographer for the Dallas Cowboys. The thing that's playing on the loop over here was an interview they did with me from back in the 90s when we went out to San Francisco and played the 49ers out there in the NFC Championship game. Well, we just played them this last playoff season, and it's always a war when you play those guys. They're a great team, and they hate us, and we hate them. But at that time, my Catholic faith was starting to inform the direction my life was taking. And I had a restless soul. I prayed to God to show me his will for me and my life going forward. I felt so indebted to him that I could never repay him. But I did want to devote the rest of my life to trying to serve him through the gift he gave me. And there's a wonderful letter from St. John Paul II. It's called Letter to Artists, if you ever want to look at it, or some of you may be familiar with it. That also was a great inspiration to me. But God answered my prayer. From that moment on, I have focused on finding ways to honor him through my photography, the gifts he gave me. From my own parish, Mater Dei Latin Mass, I was just talking to Dr. Doherty about photographing one of the original priests, Father Terra, who was the first religious person that allowed me to do this, and the Mother Superior there at the time was able to arrange that, because I didn't even have the courage to ask, because I thought it would be an insult to ask him. So I said, would you ask him? Because I don't want to insult him. And so he's in one of the photographs that you'll be seeing here. The Diocese of Dallas, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Dallas, the cathedral, the shrine of the Virgin of Guadalupe, which we have a new sculpture out that Julie showed me yesterday. Is beautiful, that I understand is going to be dedicated next month. I'm doing work now for EWTN, the Catholic Network. I'm going to be about to photograph another project that Mother Angelica, is anyone here familiar with Mother Angelica? I'm reading her biography right now, but she built, in addition to the network, EWTN, she built the shrine to the Blessed Sacrament out in northern Alabama. And we're going to be doing photography possibly for Easter next week. I'm in talks with them right now. A few comments. As an artist, I recognize that we live in a supernatural world that's veiled. We see it as ordinary only because we're used to living in it. During the course of my experiences during this journey, this holy journey, I've witnessed how God has revealed himself to me from behind the lens of a camera. Whenever I'm about to go into let's say a sacred situation, to photograph either a ceremony, architecture, it doesn't matter. I always invoke his presence and guidance to show me what you want me to see, because I can't possibly begin to find, through my vision without the inspiration. And he shows me. And in things like the visual designs that I see depicted in some of the photographs that you're about to see, that I discover when I'm looking behind my lens, that sometimes shock me. But one of the great things about working with the Cowboys is that one of the things I learned early on is when you get lucky, be ready, because things happen really fast in professional football. But things like, in one of the photographs, one of my favorite photographs, I think it was during the vigil of Easter at the cathedral, this pieta, in the hand were 3 roses. And when I first saw that, I just had my camera with me and I looked down and it was there, and it immediately struck me as the Trinity when I saw that. And that's always been one of my favorite photographs. Once again, it kind of goes beyond the literal into the figurative. And those are the kind of things that happen all the time. I was privileged by the Mother Superior. This is a cloistered monastery of Carmelite nuns in South Dallas. And they allowed me to not only go behind the curtain, but to go into their gardens and photograph. And one day, it was snowing. And I called Mother Mary, who was the superior, and asked her if I could go photograph. They have all this beautiful statuary there. And when I entered into that garden, it was so still and so quiet, and the snow was coming down and everything was white. And you felt like you were walking into heaven. I felt like it was heaven on earth. And as I stood in front of the crucifix that's in their garden, I mean, it just, the feeling of the presence that you're beholding is overwhelming. This has happened a lot. To an artist, light is everything. From a painter to a photographer, light's a big thing. Well, God is light. Through my career as an artist, I have seen God as a master artist through his creation. But coming to the University of Dallas, which I fell in love with, I actually love this holy place and all the people and staff I've met here and the students that I've gone to classes with. And it's like Dr. Perrin said, the first class I took was with Dr. Malloy, Christopher Malloy, and I remember calling him and asking him if I could take his class. And he said, "What class?" And I went, "The Triune God. That is like the study of the Trinity, one of the most difficult." And he said, "Ron, that's not that easy of a class." And I went, it's the one I want to take and study. And it was so illuminating to listen to a mind like Dr. Malloy, who's a brilliant man, as most of the professors here are, explain that. And as you learn it intellectually, because I wanted more than the artistic experience of God, because there's many paths that lead to God, but in the end, they're all the same path. They all merge, whether it's through his beauty, through the knowledge, through wisdom, through all different paths. But I wanted an intellectual experience of God and to grow close to him that way. And through the University of Dallas classes that I've taken here, that has happened for me. So no one can know everything. This is what I tell anyone who thinks they know something for sure, like there is no God or something, or there's no way anyone could ever know that, because no one can know everything. And if you don't know everything, you can't possibly know that. But from my philosophy of being class with Dr. Furman, I learned, quote, that beauty is the primary standard for scientific truth. James Watson, in the book The Double Helix, mentions how beauty guided the discovery of DNA's molecular makeup. And in many science investigations, they look for the simple, beautiful formula as truth, of scientific truth. So in closing, I just wanted to say, I hope you enjoy my exhibit, this exhibit, some of my work, over my own personal journey of discovery. I just want to let you know that God is everywhere we look. He's all around us in our everyday life and experience. And I would just ask you to remember the next time you are struck with some majesty of his creation, look again past the veil and the ordinary that you experience this world through, and you will see him. It's very obvious. And to finish, I did want to quote one of my favorite Moody lines. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around, you could miss it. So I hope you enjoy the exhibit. I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to be a student here at UD.